we celebrate and acknowledge our amazing sponsors.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't unmute you.
That's all right.
Start over.
So,
hi.
Yeah,
we're 4.
Yeah, we're 4.
That's what you missed.
I don't think we're muted, by the way.
We were until just a second.
I think it's worth noting that young Jesse is out today and Brian Force is on the 1s and 2s. So
Brian's still showing me.
Yeah, it's still showing Nick right now. Yep. I'm talking, right? Like, so this
it's not that I don't know how to do it. It's just been a while. My brain used to be wired to my fingers to change the
tap.
Yeah, and now it takes me a second.
It's gonna take. Look, we're 4 years old today, and you would give 4 years old some grace. So extend us some grace on what the hell is happening.
Here's what I do love, that we made it. Most podcasts, most things don't last 4 years, right? There's a lot of marriages that don't even last this long.
Who's our boy who does the Titanium podcast?
RJ Bates.
RJ Bates told us, and I remember this distinctly, that we can call this a podcast when we got to episode 17. I very distinctly remember Nick or somebody relaying that to me very early on, that this would be legit if we actually did 17 in a row.
So what do we call ourselves now?
Super podcast.
We're in the stratosphere at this point. 152 episodes.
Look, we do this. We do this for you, not us.
Yes,
right. And because of that, because it's for you. Look, we've got some amazing sponsors for this show, and we're just going to kick this around today. There's a lot of things going on in the real estate environment that we could just bore you to death on, but let's just share about the past 4 years. Let's go back a little bit. And let's acknowledge that Mortgage Mike of Texas is our favorite Texas loan officer and now Oklahoma loan officer. And he's going to get you that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. I was talking to him on the way over here, and he's been so busy today. I keep calling him, and he's like, he hits that automatic, "Can I call you back?" or something.
Oh, I thought that was the sound of him stamping people.
No, that should be. Boom, boom, boom. Yes. And, he was so busy that he was stamping all those approvals.
There you go.
And was talking with him on the way over, and he's like, "Man, I just love what you guys are doing over at the podcast." He's like, "I love it when you shout me out, mortgagemikeoftexas.com. And I just want to, his goal is to approve everybody that calls him today. Doesn't care if you have 400 credit score, he's going to approve you.
He's going to make it happen.
Yeah. So mortgagemikeoftexas.com. And then go over and help those buyers invest in houses if you're a real estate agent around here. And when you do, like, help them build that residual income, that net worth, and then send them over to homewarddfw.com so that they can get the right property management. And they don't have to put that on their plate, because that's a pain in the ass and no one wants that.
Well, and if you guys don't know, this is a little company that we are associated with, but I was doing some homewardpropertymanagement.com lead generation. It's homewardfw.com, whatever. I was just reading the screen. Yeah. Lead generation today, because that's what my involvement is in this bad boy. And it's really interesting, I think, the types of conversations that you have, because not only were we getting a few people who were interested and wanted some more information that might switch from the property management of their company they're at. There was actually a guy who asked, like, straight up, like, "Do you guys sell homes too? Because, like, I might have a couple of properties I want to let go of." And I was like, "Well,
what?
You're in luck. I'm also a real estate agent." Right. So anyways, lead generation, call the investors in your area, and Homeward Property Management is awesome. And everybody in the Metroplex is learning about it through our text message automation.
I do want to talk about, that kind of deeper, because the market that we're headed into, we are seeing a lot more people considering they may have put their home up for sale and it didn't sell. And so they're considering renting that out. So I do want to dive into that today. And if they do that, or if they are buying a home, or if you are a real estate agent that is selling houses, only the ones that are selling houses, we're talking to you.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. You need a home warranty company that is going to stand by your side. That's not going to make you look awful. So I'm going to tell you, I've had some warranty companies that I've used in the past, and my agents or my clients were not happy. They would call me up and they're like, "Yeah, I'd be checking in. How's it going?" It's like, "Well, it was good until my washer and dry, my washer overflowed, and I found out that the plumbing's all fucked up, and the warranty company didn't cover it." I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I got another call." Right. And so what you do need to do, you need to connect with Theron Smith.
Yes.
Right. Armadillo Home Warranty. It's armadillo.1/tour, TORE, and chat with him. He can sell those warranties in all 50 states. He's a great partner to have on your side. If you need to have him connect it, if you need to connect him with your clients, That way he can be a part of that. He's willing to do that. He will even drive a couple hours and go meet with them in person.
You want to hear a funny
Theron, can you comment if you're watching? I meant to text you back last week, and we were supposed to have lunch today, and I just have to own this.
He's still waiting on lunch.
I super forgot to text.
Hey, he's
you
not
back.
watching the show.
Yeah,
He's sitting at
just,
lunch
I'm
right
just
now.
telling you, just on the podcast, just so I can own this. I totally forgot, and I'm so sorry. I have no excuse. I'm going to shoot you a text here in a little bit. Let's do it.
So this is not anything that any home warranty company would cover, but I did have someone one time ask if a home. So I had a client who I just sold him another house, and the house that he kept as a rental that he's keeping as a rental right now. When he bought it, the flipper guys had put a half bathroom in it, and somehow the inspector is a pier and beam house. So somehow the inspectors missed this. But he moves in, and his dad's under the house doing some work and crawling around. And it turns out there was no plumbing attached to the toilet in the half bathroom that connected it to the ground. And one of the first questions that he asked was, he's like, "Will my home warranty cover this?" And I was like, "Bro, I do not think so." So we ended up having it worked out through the inspection company, and they apologized for obviously what was the miss and made it right. It was totally ended up being fine, but like it was just a legit toilet was just flushing into the underside of the house.
Well, I needed, I've actually seen those. I've seen that.
Unreal.
Like you all of a sudden, my old house was pier and beam, and we added it was a half bath and added a full shower. And this was when I was married to my first wife. We went on our honeymoon. We came back, and all of a sudden, my hardwood floors looked like there were waves in it. Right, so they were. It was all warped, and I'm like, I was like, this is not normal. I don't think hardwoods are supposed to do this. And I look outside, and I'm like, why is my ground wet? It's summertime. And I go and open up the crawl space, and it was like a swimming pool. And that full bathroom that we added to the half bath, the line that the plumber used was expired flex piping or whatever it was. He shouldn't even been using it in the first place. It exploded, and it flooded everything.
So I have two questions. One, what was the water bill attached to that mishap? And two, what in the hell did you have to do? Because I mean, obviously, I've sold a lot of pier and beam homes, and getting water under them like that is a serious problem, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, did you guys have to rip all the flooring out and redo anything the underside of stuff?
No. The good news is we probably should have now.
Give out the address.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, first off, what you do is the water bill is probably, I think it was like $225, $250, which
not outrageous.
But back then it was.
It sucks.
I didn't have a lot of money back then.
It's way too much.
And for a water bill, I think that's pretty high, unless you're in Salina. I hear water bills out there outrageous.
Dude, I just had a client who bought out in the Rockwall area new development, and they're finding out that their water allocation, because of where they're at, is not where it needs to be. Yeah. And it's not a problem yet, but it could be. And there's like not a lot he can do about it.
Is that mud territory?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I was in Richardson, so maybe out there it was.
No, not I was
Salina.
Like Salina and stuff.
Salina has something with the way the water is, and I think off of 380 there's some Providence Village, and all the rest of them have some issues out there, or some. The way it is, and so our water bill was a little bit higher, definitely higher. But what you do is you put these big fans underneath, it dries it out, and then you just make sure that it doesn't mold over. So you start checking that, and then the floors, for the most part, went back to normal. There was one section that was between the living room and the kitchen that never did. And so you just we tried to cut it out, but that was original 50s hardwood floor. So that was real.
Yeah.
So you just, so you just kind of sand it down, and you just say, look, this is the character. It's the charm of this
70-year-old house.
1950s cottage charm. I mean, don't you want this? Look, this is original warp.
Yeah.
Warp. You can't even pay to get this anymore. And so, but speaking of that, I mean, yesterday I had over the weekend, actually, I get home. I was in Orlando. I get home, and I think it was Addie. Addie was like, "Man, my shower's lukewarm," and I'm like, "All right." So I was like, "I'm sure it's something you did." And then Heather's washing dishes, because washing the baby bottles, and it needs to be really hot water to disinfect it and stuff like that. She's like, "This is lukewarm." I'm like, yeah, I'm not saying that's something you did. So obviously, I'm sure it's the hot water heater. Go up into the attic. There's water all in the pan. And it's like, yep, hot water heater. So you start making some calls. All the plumbers are out there. And I was like, this is not the time for my home warranty to be lapsed.
Yeah.
And I was talking to Theron to put one on my property, and I just forgot to do it.
Yeah.
And so I had a $2,169. So $2,169 later, I've got a brand new hot water heater up there.
Did you go tankless this time?
No,
No.
because the problem with tankless is that it doesn't save you that much money.
Yeah.
Like it's about $100 a year.
Isn't it just the flood issue? Isn't it like? Isn't it just
doesn't
better
it just
for?
save you problems?
I mean, what kind of? So it depends. Like I heard during the freeze that look, we have natural gas. We have gas heating our house, and we still had hot water, no electricity, but hot water.
Yeah.
But even though you have a gas tankless hot water heater, it's still powered by electricity.
No, that's fair.
So,
It's like
Look,
Teslas.
This
Are you really helping that much?
This is the prepper side of Nick coming out. The freeze was like a once in a century event, and he won't switch to a tankless water heater in case it ever happens again.
Just do cold plunges every day.
yeah, no, thank you. No. But what happens is, like, again, you prepping, right? So, like, what if the water gets shut off? At least you still have some in your hot water tank. Can you go punch that out?
true.
See, now this is how I know
That's
Nick's not
true.
a proper prepper, because in a prep situation, you would line your bathtubs,
Correct.
and then you'd fill it up with drinkable water
That's true.
to weather the storm.
Yeah, but
so everybody just wouldn't be shut. You guys would be bathing in the pool.
No, then you
That'd be
have your
your
life
setup.
straw.
Can I give you a hot sports
I know,
opinion on
I'm sure.
Teslas? We got
Lowe's gonna love this.
We've got to get away. Lowe's a great example. We got to get away from extremes on our opinions about these things. Can we admit, one, that if you're driving a Tesla right now, understanding the way that batteries are made and that electricity is often produced, you're not actually helping the environment yet. So
It's
if
making
you're
it
like,
worse. I think it's
if
making
you're
it
one of
worse.
those people that's like going green by driving a Tesla, I have news for you that at current is actually not a better alternative. And can we also get away from the other side? We're like, Teslas are just as bad as driving a locomotive. Like,
I don't think
because
they don't say that.
we're moving in the right direction, is all I'm saying. Like,
I was
there's got to be a version 1 of everything.
Can we just go? What if we just go back to horses?
That's fine. I just there's nobody in the middle that's like, yeah, Teslas aren't really better right now. I'm
yeah.
hoping the technology continues to improve like every other piece of technology on Earth. And in the future, they become better. It's either like they're terrible or they're the best thing in the world and you're trash if you don't drive.
By the
one.
way, Aaron Foster, you're right. You need to buy an $80,000 Tesla so you can save about $20 in gas. And thank you for commenting, because look, we're 4 years old today, or right around this week, right? And so Aaron was one of our first.
Oh yeah.
He was
As far as I know, still the only out of towner to ever come visit.
You always remember your first.
I don't know. Is there anybody else who's ever come in from beyond the
come and
state
actually
lines?
visited us? No,
I don't think so.
not at all. And that actually is crazy offensive.
But honestly, it's the only tour event that we put on.
yeah,
So
this might also be a little bit on us. We haven't made ourselves
One
very
thing we haven't
available.
learned in 4 years is consistency.
yeah.
We consistently show up here at 3 o'clock. Well, the day that we're 20 minutes late, I'm talking about. Show up at 3 p.m.
Look, that was my fault. That was my fault.
It's
So,
all right.
you
It
know,
happens.
I had to go.
We're all real estate agents.
Yeah, I had to go. I was meeting with some important people, and but let's Aaron as a goat. So for coming to visit, especially because when Aaron came in, then that's
Niels, you are the exact reason I modified my comment, because I knew somebody was going to jump on here and say I came in from out of town.
Yeah, exactly.
I will tell you that Aaron comes in, and that's the night Brian's like, I'm going to the cigar bar, and he leaves Aaron and the rest of us.
I told everybody where I was going. A bunch of people followed me. It wasn't me. It was like me and 9 other people that went, and we had a fantastic time. You know who was there? Harvey. He was smart enough to come where I said I was going. Y'all act like I ditched you. I just went to a different location, one that you actually enjoy. You like the cigar bar.
I was the biggest buzzkill of that event. I was so unbelievably nervous that I was trying to take it down with anger.
Yeah,
As soon as stuff
That
was,
was like the biggest piece of feedback I got after the show. I was just talking to people at the bar, like, wish you guys would have gone on longer. Kelderman was like, all right, we're wrapping it up.
I for everybody who was there, I have never been so nervous in my entire life, and I have no idea what triggered that. It was ridiculous.
It's not
To the
like you
point where
hadn't already done it 100 times at that point.
as soon as Brian announced there was a problem, I was like, well, we should shut it down. Like I was team, let's just drink.
Here's what I want and love about today's show is like, look, you're probably not getting any good real estate nuggets out of this. But
That's all right. Go
here's
watch the other 151.
exactly. But here's what I do want to share is that what we did
Back on
do.
Nick.
Yeah,
Back on Nick.
he's drinking his water.
I am.
He's hydrating.
Yes, exactly. It's
He's
hard to
hydrating.
do this with just one hand.
Yeah, and so
There's a joke in there
what
somewhere.
dude, we need to give ourselves props. First off, is that we have 152 episodes, but there's really more in there.
Yeah.
We had a lot of we've had a lot of stuff that like it would embarrass so many people that they would have just stopped. Yeah. We did and attempted to monetize this. Now we have amazing sponsors who do pay now today, and we appreciate you guys so much. And everyone needs to go support those sponsors. And maybe eventually Lawyer's Title will be a part of this too. So they keep talking about it. Maybe they just need to commit. Once you commit, we promise we won't let you down.
Keep talking about it. He's married to the person he's talking to.
Exactly. Once you commit, we won't let you fail.
Exactly.
And so, the thing that we attempted, let's go back 4 years ago. So let's go back in time. And so you got to do that. Do you have that? Yeah. Can you put the images on there? Come on,
dude,
Brian.
I'm barely even able to get the cameras moving in the right
Jesse,
direction.
hurry up. Get back here. And so this, if you haven't heard this story, the way that this all came about is that there was a guy in our Keller Williams office, the DPR, the old building that we were all in. He was like, hey, I got some equipment in my garage. You want to come down and we can do some videos? And I'm like, what kind of, what are we shooting?
We can do some videos. That explanation could have
At this point, you have to understand what all three of us are doing individually, right? You can go back in Nick's YouTube channel and watch his progression of the stuff he was doing back there. Brian was doing this bit called Coffees with Closers around that time.
It never came out, by the way.
It didn't. Nick was like my first guest. I still have those mugs.
And then I was.
Well, you owe me a mug.
Oh, dude, I have like 70 of them in a case in a storage unit. You can have as many as you want.
I was editing all my own shit on iMovies, right? Like it was just everything we were doing. We understood the importance of video to the point where we wanted to do more of it. And the stuff that we were putting out is exactly what you would be afraid of putting out right now if you haven't put out video, right? It wasn't the end result at all.
Look, it was, I will tell you. So, JD asked me to come out, and then I come out there and he's like, hey, what do you want to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you asked me to come out here and do this. Like, we were going to do this video. I don't even know if it was live at the time. I think it was recorded.
No, it was definitely recorded.
Yeah, it was recorded. We didn't have the Facebook Live set up, or I don't even think that was really around yet.
I don't really think that even existed.
No, I don't think it existed. And so I'm like, I don't know. I'm not good at just talking to myself on camera. I need people. And so he's like, all right. And he starts to get to work. And we called a couple people. Stephen Crawford was one. He shows up. I don't think it was you, Matt.
I think it was me the first
Brian
time.
didn't show up the first time.
Not the first time.
So I think it was me, you, and Crawford.
Yep.
Right. And then we were like, all right, this was fun. And ditto, it was just
it was the first time. Yeah,
it was the first time.
Remember we tried to write stuff on the whiteboard, like the topics off camera.
Yes.
To try and and he had that moving camera in the background that kept effing up.
Yeah. And so it was definitely interesting. But what it did do is like, all right, let's do that. This was fun. Let's do it again. And the next week, Crawford couldn't show up. Mm-hmm. And so we're like, all right, let's call Brian. We know Brian. Like, we reached out to Brian, and Brian's
happy to be third place.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Brian was like, all right, I'm down. And
he was still wearing suits back then.
But it was
it's funny that the dude who actually built this whole damn studio eventually wasn't even a first choice to be on the fucking show.
Well, look, we have to kiss some frogs to get to the
I put these walls up myself.
It's episode 152 for Nick and I. It's episode 151 for Brian.
Yeah. And so we start doing it, and like after like, this is how Brian is, though, right? So this is classic Brian. We start doing. He's like, man, this is fun. Let's make this something. Oh, he's like, and Brian's all.
This was a coaching program from day one in Brian Force's mind.
Brian's day one, dude. Like, everyone's gonna want to listen to this. We could probably get 1 million people to sign up for $100 a month. Think about that's $1 billion a year. And I'm like, he's like. And then he's already cashing, like he's already buying his next Porsche, because that's when he was driving the Porsche at the time. And so he's doing this, and we're like, all right, let's slow your roll, Brian. This is fun. So let's figure out what we can do. What would we name this? And we start throwing names around.
I wish we could remember some of the ones that landed on the floor if this is what we came up with.
Yeah, I wish we had all the reject ones. Yeah. Those were fantastic.
I don't think we had that many.
We didn't. And I can't remember even how we came up with this, other than the fact that we thought it would just kind of be funny to be dicks, because there were a couple of instances at first where I would post this in other groups and people would comment on it like, this isn't even that good.
Oh my gosh. We got
content.
A lot of comments like that. Like they're like about the name just and everything. Like people were kind of giving it shit because it wasn't really
somebody who ultimately came on the show hit me up on the side and was like, you guys might have trouble getting like other people to come on the show. I was like, honestly, if you don't get the names a bit, you probably shouldn't come around what we're doing anyway.
Yeah, what's that book? The book for dummies or whatever it is? Like, is that what it is?
There's a lot of
them. Yeah,
there's a lot of them.
Like
so people buy that damn book, and are they calling themselves a dummy? So in our thought process, actually, I think that's how we threw this name. I was like, all right, I was just messing around, like only
Yeah.
real estate podcasts worth listening to. And we're like, everything else looked like shit. We're like, all right, we're going with that one.
It
And-
kind of like struck immediately. I was like, that actually sounds turbo cool.
Because it also embodied our characteristics and the type of people that we are. And we believed, like, look, this was raw content. We weren't filtering it, we weren't scripting it. We were just putting out what we came into the studio to do.
Yep.
Right. And we were only talking shop to us three because we're all going through the thick of it at that time. And, that's how it evolved and grew. And look, they're still today, like, could this be a lot better and a lot bigger? Absolutely. Are there other people that have come on scene that
reached our peak?
Yeah, it could be. How do you guys will share it for us?
Yeah, share it, comment, tag people in it. Leave us 5-star reviews like we asked, like we used to, and then we still don't. Come on. But there's other people who we know that started their own podcast, and we like to take credit that it's probably because of us. I'm sure that we were the role models.
We have some similar named podcasts and Facebook groups out there that feel like
we might know them.
Yeah. All I'm saying is like, everything's a remix. Led Zeppelin didn't create any original music. And I think there's a lot of podcasts and groups out there that might have taken influence from the kids.
That's fine. We'll take it. I like it. Often imitated, but never duplicated.
I think one of the other cool things too is like just
You
talking.
actually got that right. When was the last time you said that? That's perfect.
Not often.
I thought for sure you're going to mess that up.
I thought it was. That's why I said it real slow.
It's written on his mirror in lipstick. Dude, and like Brian and I weren't business partners, right? Like Nick was still in the office that we all eventually cycled through, right? Like there was like that stuff sounds kind of silly, and obviously we're having a little bit of like our own little time to reminisce here that maybe a lot of people weren't privy to it, especially if they haven't listened to the show for a while. But I think one of the coolest things is somehow through all of that, through Nick changing brokerages, through honestly what would normally be like, look, let's call everybody in KW and EXP talk shit to each other.
Yeah.
For some stupid reason. If you're one of those people, stop it. You look like a dummy on both sides, honest to God.
All right, I'll stop.
Right? Look, do it in private circles. Do it to win the recruit, but just going out and bashing each other in the comment section is idiotic.
The online thing is juvenile.
Do your sales stuff, right? Sell your business, sell your company, whatever. That's fine. But my whole point being is like it very easily could have been this could have been something completely different in the sense that it could have just ended, but also like we could have used this as some recruiting mechanism that then gets sideways when Nick's no longer at the same company that we're at, or vice versa. We're at the company he's not out anymore. And the whole reason this works is because it's always just been three people sitting around talking about kind of what annoys them about the job that we've all chosen to do and where we're having success. And every week a few people tune into it. And that's been juicy enough for us to continue to do it. And probably also like, I don't know. I mean, I'd be scared of it getting bigger because then people are going to expect us to like say things.
I think that's what makes it. That's why it should get bigger.
And I'm not saying I don't want it to get bigger. I'm just saying like
that's why it should get bigger. And what I see is like, look, we've journeyed. This is a great thing. And who was it? Nick Krim that said this one on the podcast is like, you're not going to be on your deathbed wishing I made more videos, but he also knows that he made enough videos that people are going to know who he was.
That was one of my biggest takeaways from that episode. That was like a big aha moment.
Yeah. And so we've journeyed our growth over the last 4 years. Look, this doesn't pay very well. In fact, it costs us money. Yeah. It doesn't, it's not a huge net gain. We have, I mean, Logan join your company because watching the podcast, like, we've been able to partner with amazing people because of this, but overall it's not done as a huge net gain. We're doing this honestly, the way I do it and the way I say it, as I get to come in here, hang with you guys once a week.
Yep.
And I get to share what's going on. I get to document the struggles because we don't always tell the full story because we can't, because we need to be confidential in some of the things that are going on, but we can share what we're going through. We can share the problems because more than likely, most people are going through the same shit.
Absolutely.
Maybe even probably worse, right? We went through, I mean, hell, was it last year when we documented, some people passing away. Even my brother came on here like a couple months later and that was not fun.
No.
Right. No. We never got him on the damn show. And I think about that every time.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to this that this is just, this is just our therapy session. So just like Aaron said, like, plus a minute, it's much cheaper than going to therapy. Like this is us coming in and this is us being therapeutic. And look, we've done it at times to throw some shade.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's what I think's been so organic about it, is because we never actually had a difficult time coming up with what to talk about, even from the beginning. I think one of the things that people would struggle with podcasts so much is content. Like, just take solace if you're like a regular listener, understanding that like you're just listening to a conversation that we would have if the cameras were off. Like, what you guys don't know is we usually stay here till like 5 or 6 o'clock, just continuing the talk. We just only have the cameras on for an hour, but like the podcast is just the shit we always talk about. Like, that's why it was so easy for us in the beginning.
But don't you remember, like, again, we're going to Brian Force it for a moment. He's like, $1 billion a year. It's easy, man. Like, don't you agree? Don't you agree? Like, this is valuable. Like, this is gold. Like, people should pay us to listen to this show. Like, we're giving out amazing information. And we're like, yeah, Brian. They're like, well, we are, but like, you're right. We'll pay for it. Like, everyone else will too. So he's like, and so that's where we're like, all right, Tour Academy.
Yeah.
Tour Academy. We're like, this needs to make us money.
Yeah.
And, there was, full transparency, there was differencing of opinions. And as Coach Burt says,
there still are, right?
Yeah.
We're not as attached to our opinions anymore, but I think we still have different visions sometimes. Yeah,
absolutely. No, for sure. And as Coach Burt says, there's conflict happens when two people come together and there's differencing of opinions or beliefs. Yeah. The cool thing is our belief is the same. That we may have differencing of opinions in how the direction should go, but we still believe that this is the best and most valuable content. Is there times that people need to listen to the show to actually extract nuggets? Because we're not like, here's the 3 things. Because that typically when we say there's 3 things, we only get to 1.
Yeah. Or we say there's 3 things and we just talk about 6.
Yes.
Right.
I do like how we've gotten away, like we've gotten smart. We've gotten away from like our titles and stuff, like doing the top 5 things. You're like, it never ends up.
People love lists.
They love lists.
It's either 1 or 9.
But the ones that actually listen to this, and if they're actually really intelligent about this, they go back and listen. I've had people like, I listened to your show and it helped my business. And I'm like, well, which one did you listen to? Because could you leave that review?
Yeah.
Because there's times like we just BS around, but it's our real life shit that's happening.
Yeah.
And this is like, again, we're not trying to sell anything unless you go to Tour Academy /take 10 tour.com.
I don't think it's up anymore. It's touracademy.com/take 10.
TEN, right?
Yeah.
So
see, Nick can go right back to it.
You want to learn how to take 10 plus listens every single month like we do, go to touracademy.com /take 10.
I do believe, what did we end up at? 24.
Oh, no. Yeah, we could still do that.
Oh,
Here was the thing. We've had, I will say, Brian and I, we've had this, we shared as a 3, and then Brian and I had another one individually, but 2 separate ideas that we tried to turn into businesses that we just did not understand logistically how in the world they would work out. And one was just the distribution and desire for people to sign up for a coaching program, right? Because we tried doing member calls and mastermind calls and all of this time devoted.
Such a time commitment in the
beginning.
It
was such a time commitment. And we understood that that's what it takes, right? Every time you start a new business, you're going back to square one and you're going to devote a lot of time to that baby, right? Like it can't feed itself. It can't change its own diaper. Like it needs your attention all the time. And then the other one was Brian and I just thought it'd be super, super simple to start a staging company. And it turns out that it's not just the expense of the furniture. The weirdest thing about that whole experience was, how do you somehow remove yourself from the business? How do you tell somebody to go to a storage locker and pick up the vase of yellow flowers? You have to have a whole tracking system for where this stuff is and how it gets picked up.
So much more complicated.
The fact that we somehow only lost a little bit of money on that is a testament to Peggy Force being able to go get refunds for shit.
100%. Dude, the whole business ended up being her reselling stuff. Like, that was the business. We ended up becoming an importer-exporter company, and we lost money. I think we just got really excited about the name. We thought of the name Center Staging and just thought that was so badass.
It was over from there.
We got to build a company around this. This is too cool.
Brian's
name.
Brian's like, look, Center Staging. They'll know. They'll know. Everyone's going to, even if they don't want to sell their house, they're going to want their house staged by Center Staging.
All we did was use that furniture to stage 2 high dollar listings that both sold. They were expired.
Free too.
And we staged them for free. So I guess if we count the fact that there were some pretty fat commission checks that came from it, then I guess it worked out all right.
But I mean, look what developed, right? So we ran Tour Academy. We ran a webinar for learn how to take 10. And we ran it on a Sunday at 6 p.m. We didn't know like actually Brian probably still doesn't remember, but he's the one who put it together, using Webinar Jam. And us stupidly didn't even learn Webinar Jam until that day, and really at 4 o'clock.
I was gonna say, it was like right before.
I'm going to say Brian stupidly didn't learn it because I don't think anybody expected me to know shit about Webinar Jam.
I didn't learn things that like I a basic understanding of the program. I didn't understand anything about like resolution or equipment or cameras. I just remember us turning on the camera and we were all standing in front of a whiteboard and there's these lights pointed at the whiteboard. So everything was just illuminated. It was just like us. It was as if we all just died and we're standing at the pearly gates. It was just so white and bright. You couldn't see anything we were writing on the whiteboard. And it's like 2 minutes before the webinar starts. And I'm just like, I don't even know how to fix this.
But
I have no idea.
Let's break that down a little bit, unpack it, Brian. Like most people would, first off, they wouldn't have done it. And we figured out a solution. And we had, how many people showed up to that?
Dude, we had like 200 something signups and like 160 people jumped on.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And honestly, looking back, where we are stupid is that we had that many people, we were on to something. Mm-hmm. And if we would have dove into that deeper, then Tour Academy could have been something even bigger. Right. There's times when you need to eject from the plane, and there's times when you eject because you didn't see the vision yet, and we jumped out too early. And how many times do people eject in the real estate business when they were that close or they were on it? And we did that when it came to Tour Academy. We did that with we should have dove all in on take 10 listings every single month, because how relevant is that still today? We all are still taking 10 listings every single month.
Well, and I think what came the billionaire ideas. I think what ultimately came, I think what the real takeaway for me is, because I'm kind of remembering that story as you're talking about, is most people would have just ejected on the webinar, right? Like, and I'm not saying most people as real estate agents. I just think the natural inclination is going to be, I don't really know how to figure this out. I'm just going to kind of lick my wounds and walk away from this. After we overcame that part, then, I don't know if you guys remember, nobody could see what we were writing on the whiteboard. It was too far away.
Yeah, it was just like, it was such a glare.
Yeah.
You couldn't see anything we were writing.
So we didn't write it. We ad-libbed it, and we each jumped in front of the camera. So we took turns and just kind of went over the slides that we had.
Yeah. And there was all the reason in the world to run away from that. And like, I agree with you. There was something there that we didn't see. That was such a testament to how many times, because there were a few times, right, when we switched over to doing this on Be Live, and then we went back into the studio.
So I wanted to bring that up.
Please do come back next week, Jesse. This is very difficult. I just messed with the camera up again. Now it's on me.
No, he's talking about the Brian's billion.
Oh, it's coming. I thought you said
Brian's
I'm coming back. See,
ideas.
I can't even. I got so much going on in my head right now. I can't even read the comments right.
But let's talk about that real quick. So here's how we transition involved, just like your real estate business does. And look, we were fortunate enough to, and we probably don't give enough credit. So this is the only time that's going to happen. JD let us use his studio for the first couple of sessions. Now, again, difference of opinion started happening, and that's where conflict. So, I think we were definitely onto something that I think that hindered him, that if he would have dove in, I think his outcome would have been a lot different.
Look, I'll share this with anybody. If you're going to do this and partner with somebody, I will tell you the only thing that you need to make sure of is you have access to the raw content, right?
Yeah.
That I would like, and that's not I understand why somebody would want to keep it. I also understand why people who are on camera would want it. That's an impossible thing to overcome, because if you're doing something like that, there is alternative use for the content, and you need to have access to that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And so, as we parted ways with that studio, and what we were going to do with that and with him, we were like, all right, we were on to something. We didn't have any money to invest.
There was no money to invest.
So we went through Be Live. And Be Live is like StreamYard, like we're doing through this, but it was the beginning.
It was the free version. It was like Be Live Lite.
Yeah. Because we weren't spending any money. We're not making any money. Lead with revenue, Brian. Jeez.
Exactly.
And so we're not investing any money in this.
Nick was the only one at that point who had significant real estate success too, because Brian and I had not partnered yet.
Yeah.
We were both still running our teams, you know, and it's like they existed, but they weren't profitable. They weren't like the things that were happening weren't happening yet. So it was like,
yeah, we hadn't learned what we know now.
there wasn't a bunch of extra cash to be putting in that, because we'll
Yeah.
get to this part of the story. But I remember moving to the studio. I was like, we got to pay what?
Well, yeah.
And I'm broke, guys.
The good news is you said yes. You didn't show it because you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm in. But
Yeah.
so we went to Be Live, and there was and I think it's still up there, where Brian and I were traveling, and we had Kyle Draper that was coming on the show.
Yeah.
And so that left to have Kelderman handle it while we were gone, because as Brian and I were traveling, we were in the spots that did not, for whatever reason, have good internet connections.
Yeah.
I think I was in the mountains. I think you were flying back from New York or something like that.
I think it was on a plane or something
Yeah.
like that.
And so Kelderman jumps on with Draper, and it is an absolute train wreck.
It was
And
so bad.
Like the you're doing it from the closet.
Yep.
It's choppy.
Yep.
And you just eject.
Yep.
And I've seen you mad, but that was the first time I've seen you mad,
Yeah.
right? You were, it was embarrassment.
I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, here's the thing is too, I think one of the big growth things for me is you guys will still see me get lost on the show a little bit. Like my mind just runs around, shit like that. But at that point, I very much was not the person who needed to be kind of emceeing the show. Now, it was awesome that it was Draper, who was such a seasoned person on camera, that he was able to carry it. But as soon as everything started breaking down and the audio got really bad, because in my mind, people can watch choppy video, but when the audio is bad, like it's just
The audio
so
will
hard to
kill you,
listen
man.
to.
Yeah, 100%.
And like I said, I was so embarrassed, and I was already like struggling to kind of keep the conversation going. And I felt the pressure of doing it by myself, because at that point they had done an episodes by themselves. And so I did feel this pressure to kind of like do it well. And again, it was at a point in my life where shit was not going super well. So like I spent a lot of time in that closet of that house. And so, it just overall was not very good. And I cannot remember. I've never went back and rewatched it. I probably should now, because it'd be funny, but exactly how I ejected, like, because I think it was just finally like, dude, I've just like, I don't know.
I just like
bad.
the little piece of trivia that will go down in the annals of podcast history, that like there'll be like the one episode that Matt produced.
Yeah.
Like, it's all still in the books.
Yeah.
I'm gonna scroll back deep somewhere and find it and copy the link and repost that
Yeah.
bad boy.
Do that. I mean, and then look, after that, that's when Matt's like, that was Matt having a come to Jesus meeting with me and Brian. He's like, look, what we're doing is not great. And so that's when, we met the people at Real News PR.
Yeah.
And so look, that was $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
that was for 4 shows, and we got a deal, luckily, because that was actually higher than that. We got a deal because
Yeah, they were very generous.
my mom was doing a show there. And so I was like, I want the same deal. And so, we just committed. We just committed to splitting that 3 ways.
Yeah.
And that's where we started to really get the appetite for this at a much larger level, to do this at a high level.
When you see how it can be done, you start to get more energy around it. You're like, feel like real professional equipment and cameras and stuff. You're like, oh, this could be really cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
It was just a struggle to even get it on the air every week before. So like moving into the studio made it like way more just.
That was where the consistency started, was in
Yeah.
the studio. If you go, like, if there's anything that we learned from everything before the studio, it was, we would go weeks without doing one. I don't know if you guys remember that. But
Oh,
there were
yeah.
chunks where we go 3 weeks without.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that anybody even knows those episodes exist is almost shocking, because it was so sporadic that I don't know how anybody would have known when the hell to see it.
Yeah.
But
But that was like hiring a trainer. That got us in the consistency. It's
Yep.
like, all right, we have 4 shows, so we're going to go once a week. And
Yeah.
then we just decided, for whatever reason, Wednesday at 3 was the best time.
Still don't know that we should be married to that, but
I don't know if it has any other significance except for the fact that when people come on, like Keely comments, she's like,
Yeah.
you guys are late.
Yeah. See?
I think that's super true. It would be the same if we did it Monday morning at 9 a.m. though. They would still get used to it, right? Like Wednesday at 3. We talked about this on the warm up today. Wednesday is the most neutral day of the week. Tuesday is the most productive because you've shaken off Monday. Friday is the least productive. Nobody has any data on whether or not Wednesday is a good or
I
bad
think it's a
day.
great day for podcasting in the
That might be why it's
afternoon.
perfect.
Yeah. I would say like,
Yeah,
yeah, look, I just love Brian's leaning back in the chair. He's the producer of this.
I know.
Leaning back in the chair, like,
Just
all right,
laughing.
I'm
I'm
out. I'm done. I'm good.
The funny
caught it last minute.
the funny thing that this is making me think of is kind of how even coming out of the studio was a nice long process. We probably got what do you guys think? Maybe 100 episodes in the studio? Probably.
I think so. We did, yeah. Because
Probably.
Did we do studio episodes?
No, we did. Remember, because we were going to bring the balloons up there. Like we celebrated. Didn't they have something for
Okay,
us?
so we moved into this office in January of 2021 and sort of started immediately moving. We were still at the studio when we moved into this office. So that would have been probably episode 100, probably would have been at the studio still.
So, and I'm glad that's the number because we did 100. Okay, first off, you remember earlier I said 17 was just the metric of you're actually doing something.
Yeah.
We got to episode 100. Even when we moved out, because the studio was being shot in really perfect lighting, and the mics were like the one Brian had.
No, we had Derek.
We had somebody
That's true.
producing
We had, like,
it.
Really like
We had sick ass cameras, right? And then when we moved it in here, we still we had to take a step back.
Well, let's go take it back because you're forgetting the step. So the reason why we truly left there, we had talked about it, but we shot the week that we had Chauncey on when COVID was going on, and Chauncey Pham was the last one in studio with Real News, and then they tried.
I remember that more because she got mad because I hugged her and she said, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
Yeah, and then if
you just sat next to me for an hour.
Yeah, and then if you remember, they tried to do it on Zoom.
Yep.
And I was like, dude, we're not paying $1,000 a month for 4 Zoom calls. Let's be real.
Yeah.
We're doing this from home, and so then we just went to StreamYard, and we shot it from the houses.
We did OBS first.
Oh yeah,
and it was a disaster because we had internet connectivity issues. Like everything was just, this shit is way harder than you guys think it is.
We need to retitle this on how to build a real estate podcast.
Guys, I'm gonna tell you, it's harder than you think it is, and I don't mean that you shouldn't do it. What I mean is that like fail forward. And I think that actually, if you want any actionable advice, this podcast, the 4-year anniversary of us doing this podcast, is just an example of how we built our businesses. Like, we've just continued to move forward, even when shit goes super sideways, like all the time.
Well, just remember, so we were shooting. So after COVID, when we were ready to meet again, we were meeting in the old Keller Williams DPR. So we were doing it in my old office, your new office at that time, because y'all decided to take my shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So as soon as I moved out, you're like, all right, I'm in.
Big office. Let's take it.
I was like the next week.
Yeah. Like, we've been waiting for this to happen. Exactly. Yeah. This was the plan the whole time.
All alone.
Yeah. And so from that's when we started shooting, from inside the DPR office, and then learning that, internet connection was a big deal. And then we moved over here. And if you remember, when we moved over here, we had that one Haywire show, which was your financial guy.
Yeah, when we had Toby on from Anderson Financial, which he has such great insights too, and we just could not get the internet to work well at all.
So we had to eject from that one, right? And we apologize, and we still haven't had Toby back on, and he's been waiting. Like, I think he's still waiting.
He's with Theron at
calls me all the time.
Yeah, he's like, man, I thought we were gonna be on, and like, look,
dude, I forgot about that little.
There's people that like what's really cool. Think about it this way: if you remember during COVID, we had on, in December. We had on Armando Montalongo.
Yeah.
I think it was December. Maybe it was Thanksgiving, because we were still in this. It was before COVID.
I know we were out of the studio by the time we had Tarek on, because we had to go to the alternative.
That was because of COVID.
That was because of COVID.
So COVID was happening, and we didn't want it. So we had Armando Montalongo on from Flip This House, and we had him, online through when we were at the old Keller Williams office.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we were like, look, we kind of had a jank setup on how we would do the audio. Like, we would set up.
Jesse just dropped it.
Yeah, we would set up. Yeah, we would have guests set up, and then have to Bluetooth the speaker to the microphone. And
I had a Bluetooth speaker I'd set up next to the microphone, and it was from freaking Ross. It wasn't even a good Bluetooth speaker, and we would hope that it was loud enough to actually hit the damn microphone or whatever.
Yeah, and so from that, we had. The main thing is Brian, are we connected to the internet strong enough? And so from that, we learned, all right, we got Tarek on, and Tarek was amazing. And by the way, how we got Tarek on is I sent him it's our internet connection.
Yeah.
So it goes
strikes again.
It goes along with our 4-year episode on this.
You're back.
Our getting Tarek on from Flip or Flop was because I sent him Armando Montalongo's
that's right.
episode, And I think they have beef. I think there's something there.
I think all those TV guys got weird competition with each other.
I don't know if it's like WWE style beef or if it's real, but they all have some sort of beef.
By the way, with future, we will have Armando Montalongo back on. He wants to come back on.
I had so much fun on that episode.
Send him a message, and he wants to go over, because if you remember, go back and watch that episode. I got in a disagreement with him where the market was going, which I believe that I was right. He's now right 2 years later.
Well,
so,
if you predict the end of the world every day, you're eventually going to be right.
Yes, and so we will have him back on. We're coordinating that with his assistant. Supposedly, we were going to have Tark and or his wife, Heather. Is that his wife's name?
Sure.
Yeah, Heather. We were coordinating that with the assistant. We're still playing email tag. So I would love everyone to send that.
Well, actually, while we were continuing this conversation, drop in the comments who you would like us to pursue as a guest, because that would be an interesting thing. Because we got both those guys just from like Instagram Messenger and stuff.
Yeah, with LinkedIn, I got Armando from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Tarek from Instagram. And look, we would love to have others. I would love to have on these people that are on TV, because we idolize.
They're on TV for a reason too, right?
Yeah.
They're super engaging in this format.
Yeah, and that's great, but we also idolize them like we think they have the secret sauce to something, right? So we think that they hold the key for us to get to that next level. But David Bitnick, we definitely Coach Burt, we will have Coach Burt on.
I'm excited about anybody, but like I got his book after you talked about it, and I've read it. It's just so simple.
Yeah.
Like it's easy.
Yeah, I'm working on that. So Coach Burt will be on the show. We just got to coordinate the times on this. What I would love to do is if we could get him while he's in town. Love Jesse hit up Tark's ex-wife.
Christina,
I would love to have.
we could probably get her on.
Oh, you sound really confident.
I don't mean it weird. I just
look. We did make $1 billion from Tour Academy, also. So
yes,
everything I say just manifests.
Yeah,
the Midas of this room.
So look, the show, look how it's evolved though. Like we still eject at times. Yeah. We still have some hidden episodes that just didn't do well. Look, we've had some guests on here that are downright like I could not make a connection. Brian was the only one that loved connecting with that dude.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of people for
exactly
reasons.
what I'm talking about.
I think we've had a couple of guests that if we went back in time, we'd be like, I really hate that we put that person's message out, not because of any other thing that it really isn't backed up by any actual action, but and then look, we pissed some people off too. Right, like we were supposed to go and just like speak on this panel, and I totally shit the bed for us on that one.
Yeah,
right. Like,
look, I bet you. Look, in the long run, that didn't hurt us.
It didn't hurt us, and they didn't miss us either. I mean, we're speaking on like day 3, last 30 minutes, right?
Yeah,
type of thing. So it's like
half hour.
Yeah, it's like everybody's on the plane headed home. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but at the time, that would have been a really cool opportunity, right? Like when you talk about the types of things that makes for these to grow, press kits, knowing people, evidence of success, like that's what those things are, right?
So think of it this way: like if you were incorporating this, because this is the only real estate podcast worth listening to, our belief, and we know deep down, Brian is right. This is $1 billion idea. This is $1 billion information that's being dropped, and he's not wrong on that. And the mechanism that we need to get in front of people is you, right? You don't need more money. You need more people. Yep. And the people lead you to the money. And so number one is let's get Joe Rogan on. This might have to be a 6-hour show.
Dude, if we could get Joe Rogan, if anybody has any connection to Joe Rogan, we could just have a conversation.
Here's the real question. Has Joe Rogan ever done another, since his podcast blew up, has he done anybody else's podcast?
He does a couple of his friends.
Okay. Yeah.
We're not his friends.
Exactly.
I've been waiting for someone to say, who's the one that we were trying to get on? Who's local here?
Mike Tyson.
No. You had me on the camera. I was about to do
what
something.
does he do?
Capital.
He does Capital?
Jenna.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were trying to get Jenna on.
We still can.
Yeah. She's making the circuits. If anybody knows her and wants to put us in contact, I'll have that conversation.
I think it actually it would be an interesting conversation to have Jenna on.
That's another little thing about the show also too, is like these guys again, this comes from my nervousness about the fact that I think just my brain to my mouth doesn't have much of a stop sign. So I don't really know how to handle some of those situations, but Jenna Ryan, for instance, if that's her name, right?
No, that was right.
Jenna.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was on a local, Harvey, just Google it. was on a local radio station. I thought they handled the interview very well, especially for having a differing perspective, right? But I also think, look, I think there's a real estate aspect to that.
For sure, dude. She's a real estate agent who stormed. Like, can we say stormed?
I don't know.
I don't even know. She went to the Capitol.
That's
went
the
there
fun
and-
way to say it.
Yeah.
You know?
And so look, I mean, I don't know what that does for your business. And so I'm going to ask real estate related questions because you went all in on one side.
I will say that she very much said on the air that her business is bigger than it was before.
Yeah. So I would love to hear about that. Right.
So-
Whether, look, again, difference in opinions. It doesn't matter what you believe in on that.
Yeah.
I just want to hear what it does
think
for
that'd be
someone's
a
business on
really
that.
fun
So if
conversation.
someone wants to connect us to Jenna Ryan, I'm sure she knows of us. Because look, this show it reaches 1 billion people.
We've done deals with her, so I'm sure that she knows.
Yeah.
We-
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we would love to have that on, and this show, and everyone needs to incorporate something in their business similar to this, whether it's a real estate show, whether it's doing and committing to Instagram Reels, whether it's committing to a community show or community interviews. Like we had Kevin Kendrick on last week, and Kevin shared, like, look, he's got a group of 15,000 agents. And, all right, Heather. We're still waiting on lawyers to sponsor this, by the way. So
Last week was money, though. I really enjoyed listening.
yes, and so I took a lot away from that, and honestly, like getting more the video content to get out in front of the community, and you're helping the community and the business owners and the local schools and everything else. And so, look, this show is a testament of how to build a business. We didn't give up on it. We're not giving up on it.
Yeah.
And we've had more of us than guests.
Yep.
Most real estate podcasts bring guests on, and what do? They just interview the guests and shut up.
Yep.
Which is that's cool. But I like to do and share what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brian says, more on us. Like, and I, there's some days like when we don't have anything going on, I'm like, man, we really need a guest. Because when you're feeling like you're talking about the same thing, because for a while there, if you remember, everything we talked about was mindset. I'm like, dude, can we talk?
We
more?
did have that like 6-month mindset spurt.
I think it's a testament to kind of what we're dealing with in our business and our lives too, is what you see us talking about. Because this isn't some systematic thing where we have a list of show topics that we just work our way down. It tends to be whatever's top of mind for us when we are like, hey, what are we talking about? Right. So I think you're seeing kind of what's actively happening in our thought processes too, through the show titles.
What do you think is like the one thing that you guys have learned in the last 4 years that's actually highly applicable through this podcast?
Actually, I was going to answer it a different way.
Okay.
I thought that said midgets forever. I'm sorry, Harvey. God, I didn't.
Mindset forever.
Mindset forever. You're right. I
It
don't
could
even
be
know if
both.
we're allowed to say that word anymore. So I'm so sorry. I apologize for that. Jeez. I'm not even drinking White Claws.
It's about on brand for us.
Yes. I will tell you that actually, I'm glad you asked that question, Brian. And that's not a layup because we didn't tell you to ask us
No.
that. Is that
If you can imagine, this is not scripted.
yeah. So what I've learned is the value of what this podcast has done and this video format does. And so it's, we're all growing. Our businesses, our companies growing. We all go through some shit and I'm back in growth mode and back in learning. And, I'm sitting in front of agents and they're like, they're sitting down talking and they're like, I Googled you. I'm like, oh God, what did you find? And they're like, well, I watched several videos in the shows and the podcasts. And they're like, what comes across through all of us is that this isn't just about real estate. Like we're not just about the money, right? There's in fact, what someone told me today, there's souls behind it. Like it's not real estate. It's almost like this passion behind what we all do.
Yeah.
And that comes across in this, that comes across in the videos that we're doing. And it's allowed us to open up and become more comfortable with being real and not fake. Because how many times before we did this and before we truly got comfortable doing this, when we were going to put out some videos, how many times did we do like 10 takes and it was like, no, I can't say that.
Oh, bro. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
dude.
Like I got a booger hanging out and you're like, now it's like, just send it.
Yeah.
I don't even care. Like, we'll just go with it.
I think the biggest thing that sticks out to me, kind of weirdly piggybacks off yours, is like it's just been pretty obvious the people who have come into my life, and I've said this before on the show. The fact that we get to have the guests on and ask the questions is always super cool because we get to ask the questions we want, but more importantly, just the people that have come into my life, not just because of the podcast, but probably just because a little bit of video in general, but because the podcast is an hour long and it is really raw and unfiltered. It's probably the only live thing that we all do for this long, right? It tethers people in your world a little bit closer. And I love the fact, I didn't even see what Jess was, but I love the fact that through these past 4 years, people have come in my life and stuck for the longest time because of it, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with because I get to sit here and be myself, and they get to opt in or to that or not, right? And then if they take the time to come up to Nick and say, hey, I really got something out of her, take the time to come to you and be like, hey, I really like what you guys are doing. Can I talk more about a partnership or whatever? They've already had time to evaluate that relationship and decide whether or not they want to be a part of it.
I got one more selfish one, but I want to hear Brian.
I mean, for me, it's just, I mean, we've talked about this before in a lot of different ways, but I just also want to kind of like bring it back to this and, I'm just talking about mindset. No, I'm just kidding.
Because at the end of the day,
no, I get to look around now, running the 1s and 2s today, something I haven't done in years, and like this really is a testament to a business in general. This is we're doing a podcast for entrepreneurs, people that are trying to build a business, and the thing that holds people back really from building a business is that lack of assuredness that what you're doing right now is helping you move in the right direction. Whether it's your lead generation and you feel like you suck at it, right? Whether it's like, this isn't the right thing for me. I'm not in the right industry. This is hard or whatever it is. Like we run real estate businesses and we have to we have to have that mindset of like, we're going to fail forward every single day. We didn't have to have that with the podcast. We could have given up at any time. Through our real estate businesses, because we committed to them the way that we did, we actually organically sort of had that with the podcast. Like what I've realized over the last 4 years is that we've been doing this for a long time now, and really at no point have the three of us ever had a conversation about not doing this anymore. Like a serious conversation about not doing this anymore.
No.
Even times when it like was awkward and we had so many technical difficulties and it was such a pain in the butt to figure it all out, and it was expensive. We lost a lot of money, right? And like
you lost a lot of money. We paid you back.
There you go. Yeah. Fair enough, right? We did all that, right? But now I look around and like we've got beautiful cameras and studio lights, and the sound is perfect now, and like everything works exactly how we want it to now.
And the producer,
this is just this old ass building, right? And it might be me, but like we were working to this point, and we'll get better. Like it will only get better, but like, and like we I think we were so comfortable failing forward in this because we got really comfortable failing forward in our businesses. And a lot of people, the reason they don't get past 11 or 17 or whatever the episode number is because it's the same mindset they take towards their business. If they take too many L's in the beginning, they just stop trying. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that we carried over to this podcast from our businesses was it just doesn't matter how many L's you take. If you just keep coming back, it is empirically impossible for you to fail over time. That's where we're at today now with the podcast, and it's pretty freaking cool.
Think about it this way. The selfish thing that I have is that if you really look at it, the podcast has allowed us to grow from just kind of acquaintances to friends and to now family. Mm-hmm. So if you really look at it, what it's done is that this podcast brought us together. And look, and it allows us to be in other people's lives that we would not have done or been a part of. So if you think of that, that's what this show's done. 152 episodes, 160, whatever their really number is.
Yeah.
That one's deep, right? So if you think about that,
time, dude.
That's, most the time you go and meet someone and you're like, oh, that's cool. I like to hang out with them. Then just real life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But we committed to it. And now, like Heather said, besties for the resties.
That is pretty freaking cool, man. I love you guys so much, dude. We've been doing this for 4 damn years together. Like, I didn't even think on that level. We've become so much closer because of all this shit. Dude.
I remember the day we actually started the Facebook group by Nick's Pool.
Yes.
Right? Like just everything around that too. So it's like absolutely like this thing led us to going on vacations together and doing things as families together, and you know it's been super cool.
Becoming chosen family.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Absolutely. So
Jesse, if you ever want to see Fired Up Matt, just come over to Brian's pool on a Friday night when people are not as good at water volleyball as I am, and I have to prove it to them.
Pretty revved up. Oh. All right, we got to go before this because we're family.
Brian's going to put the camera back on himself.
Nope, this is a good one.
It is.
I'm just gonna.
we're gonna do. I thought for this one we'd at least bring back Brian's billionaire.
I
wish
I had one. I'm gonna change this really fast. Instead of your best friend has just murdered someone.
Did he say breast?
Your
I think he said breast friend.
I could get rid of that second sentence. You don't get a choice. It's just the question is your best friend has just murdered someone. What would you do?
Your best friend has just.
Yeah, he tells you about it.
This
comes to you in confidence.
In this hypothetical scenario that would never happen. There's nothing premeditated. For a good reason. I'm thinking a good reason. The good reason to me is the other person is a bad person. And you know, that's really the only good reason. They were hurting somebody who was unable to defend themselves.
But
I'm all with it.
But all right.
But what does that
Now,
mean? Would you help?
Wait. Is that the question? Would I help murder someone?
I don't think I'd be able to help.
No. Would you?
I just wouldn't tell.
Would you help? Like bury the body or like help him get away with it, assist him and not getting arrested for murder.
No, I'm sorry. I'm out. I don't care how great of friends I'm out.
I think I go to jail for that. Like if it's just, hey, I know you did it and I don't tell, like I might be able to get
okay. So are we all on the same page?
Is that obstruction?
Oh, you're still in trouble for sure.
Right. But you don't go to jail that long if you're like, oh, you knew, but Brian just murdered.
It probably depends on how much you know and how many people you lied to.
I'd be like,
I'm glad we're all on the same page because the original question is. There's only two options. It's would you help them hide the body or would you tell? And there's no in between. Like you're either an accomplice or a fucking snitch. You can't be
you can't
neutral. And I'm going to tell you, I'm neutral. Like if you murder somebody and come tell me about it, I'm like, you told the wrong guy because I'm super not getting involved in your problems. I'm not going to tell.
Yeah, here's the thing.
I'm not a snitch.
I'm
also
tell.
not helping.
I won't tell. You know, but what I definitely won't tell. But if you, Brian, murder someone and you told me, and then you get caught and be like, "Well, I told Nick."
If you roll,
I'd be like, "Oh man, like then I'm rolling on you."
I will deny that you told me because you sold me out too. Yeah.
If you roll up Pulp Fiction style and are like, "Help me clean the car," I'm be like, "Dude, I'm not your guy."
Yeah, I mean, like, oh, I got a listing appointment.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is actually because I don't want your behavior to affect me in any way. I am also the dude, and this might be a hot sports opinion. If you cheat on your significant other and you call me and be like, hey, we were at Buffalo Wild Wings last night, I'm also going to be like, if your girl calls me, I'm going to be like, I don't really remember last night. I don't really care.
Super hammered.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to say you cheated on her.
I'm going to be like, if you cheated on your girl, would you help? Like, are you there? I'm like, all right, I see what you're putting.
I'm not going to sell you out. I'm also not going to rope myself into this web of lies by saying I am somewhere where I wasn't. Because then when it gets back to my wife, that I'm telling everybody in town I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings that I'm not. Now I'm implicated in some shit that I had nothing to do with.
There are a couple of guys I'm not going to be for you. I ain't going to be the guy who picks up your lunch. Don't call me to be the person to bring ice to a party. And don't call me. And do not call me and ask me to tell me that you were with me last night.
Yeah,
right.
I guarantee you.
Just don't call me. Call your other friends.
Look, the other one, I guarantee you, if Heather said, "Hey, Matt, bring ice," you're bringing ice.
Well, there are a couple people.
There's people that get a pass, right? Yeah. But don't tell me to be somewhere that I wasn't, and then tell other people because I don't know who else is going to think I was there, and now I got a whole different web of lies.
Hey, Matt, you want to come over? Yeah, bring steak. What?
Yeah.
BYOF.
Yeah.
Bring your own food on this one, Brian.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Look, 4 years in, and we're not stopping.
No.
Look, there's going to be a lot more over the next 4 years. And on that, I hope that these main sponsors that have been with us for these 4 years, you know, like Mortgage Mike of Texas.com, our favorite loan officer, our favorite lender, who's just stamping those approvals over there. And like I said, today only, he's stamping everyone with that approval. So reach out to a Mortgage Mike of Texas.com. And then when you're helping those people buy those rental houses, those investment houses, and maybe you bought one yourself, maybe you already got some, because a lot of people right now, which we did not go down because this show actually was amazing, just reminiscing, is that we're seeing a lot more homeowners that are opting not to sell and renting their properties out. So get them connected with Dana over at homewarddfw.com. You're not going to regret it. I'm going to tell you right now, this is run by people like, again, I'm a part of this. You know my story. I got quite a few rentals, probably more than most. Yeah. So a lot most. Most. Most probably that's a lot. Actually, I have a contractor that's serving life in prison. That
no. You had a contractor. He's now serving life in prison.
Had for
look down for a second. What the hell happened?
That's Austin and I used to joke around. That's what he would say. Yeah, most probably it would cost this. I'm like, no. Is it going to cost this or not? Most probably. I'm like, what does that even mean? So we used to Austin and I would always just always joke around. Most probably I'm going to be there. So look, last but not least is Theron, who's still at Chili's. He's ordering that awesome blossom.
He has not watched a second of this episode today because he's waiting.
He's on his third El Presidente margarita.
What do you get at Chili's? He's not like, awesome blossom.
That's Outback.
Okay, you get the baby back ribs.
Matt just outed himself for his guilty as pleasure. He told me months ago, and I never told anyone, and now I just sold him out.
No, bro, I'll hit up Chili's.
He goes to Outback a lot more.
I go to Outback a lot. Dude. I do. I go to Outback a lot to eat food. Their bread and salad's amazing. Their steak is serviceable. Look, I ain't afraid to slap A1 on something. And people who act like A1 is sacrilegious to a medium grade steak is not. No, it has so much flavor.
I do think it depends on the quality of the steak. I'll put A1 on something that I don't want to eat.
Of course, but why am I paying for that? If I'm not going to like it and I have to put A1, I'm not going to go spend $20 or $25 on a steak.
They have drinks there too.
You understand? You could go to Capitol Grill for $15 more and go get a better steak.
Bro,
whoa. I don't want to 100% side with him, but if you think that Capitol Grill only costs $15 more than Outback
for the steak,
I don't even think it's that,
dude. I think you're out on Outback steak price. I think it's like seriously like $21 or something.
So you can go get a fillet. I think at Capitol and Del Frisco.
Yeah, but I get a salad and free bread, dude.
The thing
I think they give you free bread at Del Frisco.
Look, I don't even care about saying this because I'll go out and spend an absurd amount of money on food too. I ate at Chili's yesterday.
There's nothing wrong with Chili's. I haven't been shitting on anybody.
Speaking of Chili's,
we had a triple dipper platter with the bites. They were out of the Southwest egg rolls though.
I would ask for a discount.
This is one thing that high-end restaurants don't do is they don't
Southwest egg rolls.
No, they just
the triple dipper.
They don't. Yeah, they don't name their combo some weird name like the home run combo or something. Like you don't go to Perry's and get like the triple double combo. Or whatever.
I would do the 2 for 1, please.
Yeah, you're like when I will have food
when they do restaurant week.
Yeah, that's different.
True.
Yeah. I think that's part for nonprofit, right?
I think so. I can't remember.
Yeah. But again, look, go visit Theron Smith. He's at the Chili's right now, and he's just slanging up. He's bartending over there. He's slanging up home warranties left and right. Armadillo home warranty, and you just need to go to armadillo.1/tour TORE. And I'm going to tell you, after spending $2,169 on a new hot water heater, I really wish that I wouldn't have delayed getting that damn home warranty from Theron because that would have been covered.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it was a good show today, boys.
It was fun.
This week is also my 9-year anniversary of coming back from Spain and looking at the restaurant I worked at. No, it's not about going to Spain. It's that I came back from that trip and I was still a part-time agent, and I was making most of my money in the restaurants. And I came back and I was like, "Hey, restaurant," and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "I quit." And I went full-time in real estate next week, 9 years ago.
Dang.
BuyingRealtor.com.
BuyingRealtor.com leads.
Yeah.
That was the whole first
All right,
series.
guys. Next week, let's do it. We'll do it even better.
We'll do 4 years in 1 week.
And the week after that?
Hopefully Jesse's back.
Hopefully, because I keep changing this camera to myself.
Yeah, and it doesn't go to me at all. I'm talking. And then,
like,
look, on this one,
it's just so much.
Do us a favor. Look, it's our anniversary, right? So this is our 4-year anniversary, and people on their 4-year anniversary of a podcast, it is natural for the listeners to give us a gift, and that gift is you sharing this out and give us a 5-star review. That's in the that's anniversary podcast law.
And if you've already done it, text the link to somebody else to
create a fake email address and do it again.
Go get us some reviews.
Yes, seriously. Do it right now, and then Matt.
Let's go.
Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. Then go to that one. Thanks.